Here's what happened across the U.S. in the past hour, all in 60 seconds. President Donald Trump told Cuba to make a deal or face consequences, saying Venezuelan oil and money will stop flowing to the island. He gave no details, but the threat could deepen Cuba's crisis. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the Justice Department subpoenaed the central bank over his Senate testimony about a $2.5 billion renovation. He warned the threat could undermine Fed independence and shake markets. President Donald Trump said he may bar ExxonMobil from investing in Venezuela after CEO Darren Woods called the country uninvestable. The move could reshape which U.S. firms get access to Venezuela's oil sector. President Donald Trump said Iran has reached out about negotiations as he weighs very strong military options after the crackdown on protests. Rights groups reported hundreds killed and thousands arrested amid an internet shutdown. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey said video disputes federal claims that an ICE officer acted in self-defense when Renee Good was shot. He wants broader oversight of the probe and ICE out of Minneapolis. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem issued new rules requiring lawmakers to request ICE facility visits 7 days in advance after the Minnesota shooting. Democrats say it blocks oversight and vow a court challenge. Nearly 16,000 New York City nurses say they will strike Monday at 5 major private hospitals if contract talks fail. Governor Kathy Hochul declared an emergency and urged both sides to reach a deal. Here's what happened across the U.S. in the past hour, all in 60 seconds. Nordic diplomats said NATO intelligence shows no evidence of Chinese or Russian vessels operating near Greenland, after President Trump cited the claim to justify U.S. control. Greenland's assembly scheduled an early meeting to respond. In an interview, Trump said civil rights policies have left white people very badly treated and defended his crackdown on DEI programs. Advocates said the remarks could spur more lawsuits over hiring in schools. The Trump administration suspended $129 million in USDA benefit-related payments to Minnesota, citing probes into alleged fraud by nonprofits and businesses. State leaders said the cutoff threatens food programs and signaled legal action. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin said he would back Vice President J.D. Vance as the GOP's 2028 nominee, his first public comment on the next presidential race. Youngkin is leaving office after one term. A federal judge blocked key parts of Trump's elections executive order for Washington and Oregon, saying the president lacked authority. The order would have tightened mail ballot deadlines and required proof of citizenship to register. In his first week, Mayor Zohran Mamdani appointed Dina Levy to run housing preservation and development and ordered rental rip-off hearings in every borough. City officials say the hearings will drive policy recommendations. Tens of thousands marched in Minneapolis after an ICE agent fatally shot Renee Good during a major enforcement operation. Minnesota officials called the shooting unjustified, and protests spread to more than 1,000 rallies nationwide. Here's what happened across the U.S. in the past hour, all in 60 seconds. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem issued a policy requiring lawmakers to give 7 days' notice before visiting ICE facilities. Democrats say it blocks oversight after Minneapolis shooting and vow a legal challenge. In a recent interview, President Trump said civil rights-era protections have left white Americans very badly treated and called it discrimination. His comments come as his administration steps up its push against DEI programs. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey rejected the Trump administration's claim that an ICE officer acted in self-defense when Renee Good was shot. He said new video disputes that account and urged an independent investigation. Federal Reserve Chair Powell said the Justice Department has subpoenaed the Fed over a renovation project and is threatening criminal charges. Powell called it a pretext and vowed to defend the central bank's independence. The Trump administration said it is suspending $129 million in federal benefit payments to Minnesota while fraud allegations are investigated. USDA told Governor Tim Walz the state must justify spending before funds resume. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin said Vice President J.D. Vance would be a strong Republican nominee for president in 2028. The endorsement adds early momentum as party leaders start signaling their preferred successors. A federal judge blocked parts of a Trump executive order that would tighten mail-in voting rules in Washington and Oregon. The ruling pauses proof of citizenship checks and ballot deadlines while the lawsuits proceed. President Trump said on Air Force One that the U.S. is weighing very strong military options as Iran's crackdown on protests intensifies. Groups say hundreds have been killed, raising pressure for a U.S. response. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani named Dina Levy to lead housing preservation and development and announced rental rip-off hearings on tenant complaints. Officials say the hearings will shape new tenant protection proposals. Nobel organizers said Maria Corina Machado can't transfer her Nobel Peace Prize to President Trump. The White House said Trump deserves the award, as Machado is expected to meet him in Washington.